The sun sets lazily over green willow estates, casting long shadows over pristine sidewalks and manicured lawns. A neighborhood so perfect it almost feels artificial. A place where every fence is exactly 6 feet tall, every grass blade obediently trimmed, and every home whispers compliance to an unspoken code of uniformity. My home, my little sanctuary, sits at the end of Oak Ridge Drive, a modest yet charming house that I bought with years of hard work. It's not the biggest, but it's mine. And after months of planning, I finally broke ground on a small shed extension in my backyard. Something simple, just for storage and a quiet space to tinker with my firearms training equipment. Nothing that should ruffle feathers. But Green Willow Estates has an HOA. And worse, it has her, Karen Landers, HOA president, self-appointed enforcer of order, and a woman whose entitled smirk is practically a neighborhood landmark. I don't remember exactly when she started watching me. Perhaps it was the day I moved in, the day she saw a black man signing homeownership papers in her neighborhood. The microaggressions started small. An extra-long glance at my car, a fake smile stretched too thin when I greeted her at the mailbox. Then came the passive-aggressive comments. "You must be new to communities like this. We have rules, you know." I ignored her. I always do. It's easier that way. But as I finish laying the foundation for my shed, a storm is brewing, and I don't even see it coming. The first sign of trouble comes in the form of a letter taped to my door. Notice of violation, unauthorized structure. I exhale sharply, already knowing who's behind it. I scan the letter, my stomach twisting as I read the demand. Immediate removal of the structure or face, fines of up to $500 per day. I'm not naive. I know HOA politics can be petty, but this feels personal. The next day, I catch her standing at the edge of my yard, clipboard in hand, that smug expression plastered on her face. "Afternoon, Karen." My voice is even measured. She doesn't return the greeting. Instead, she flips through her notes. "It's come to my attention that you're building a shed without prior approval." Across my arms, I read the bylaws. Any structure under 120 square feet doesn't require HOA approval. Her lips purse. "Well, I don't think it's aesthetic to the community." There it is. The real issue. It's not about rules, it's about control. She adjusts her cardigan, her eyes flicking toward my skin before settling on my face. "I'll be expecting it gone by the end of the week." I don't answer. Instead, I turn and walk away, my fists clenched at my sides. Something tells me this isn't over. The next morning, I wake to find my shed vandalized. Spray paint, red letters scrawled across the wooden planks. I stare at the message, anger curling in my chest. I knew Karen was a problem, but this is something else. This is a threat. I install security cameras that same day. That night, as I review the footage, my breath catches in my throat. The grainy video shows a shadowy figure creeping through my yard. And though I can't see her face, I recognize the silhouette. The way she walks, the stiff posture, the arrogance in every step. Karen. She did this. I have my proof, but I don't go to the police. Not yet. I want to see just how far she'll go. It's Sunday afternoon when she finally snaps. I'm in my yard, adding a final coat of sealant to the shed. That's when I hear the rapid clack of heels on pavement. Karen marches up my driveway, her face flushed with rage. "This ends now," she spits, her voice trembling. I arch an eyebrow. "Excuse me? I told you to remove it. You didn't. Now I'll make you." Before I can react, she reaches into her purse and pulls out a small knife, the blade gleaming in the sunlight. She actually brought a knife. For a shed. For me. For a moment, time slows. My training kicks in. I don't flinch. I don't panic. Instead, I take a deliberate step back and hold my hands up. Karen, I say calmly, you need to think very carefully about what you're doing right now. Her eyes dart around, wild and desperate, as if she suddenly realizes how deep she's gotten. You don't belong here, she hisses. I don't care what laws you think protect you. That's when I decide to end this. I reach into my jacket and pull out my badge. Chief Firearms Instructor, State Law Enforcement Division. Karen's face drains of color. You brought a weapon onto my property. I say, my voice even, and you threatened me with it. Her mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. And then, the sound of approaching sirens shatters the air. Karen stumbles backward as two officers step out of their patrol car. One of them looks at me and nods. You okay, sir? I nod. Security cameras caught everything. Karen shakes her head wildly. No. This is a misunderstanding. Drop the knife, the officer orders. Tears spill down her cheeks as she lets it clatter to the ground. Another officer cuffs her. Karen Landers, you're under arrest for assault with a deadly weapon. The walk of shame begins. News spreads like wildfire. The woman who terrorized me, who weaponized her privilege to try and control my life, is exposed. The HOA holds an emergency meeting. By unanimous vote, Karen is removed from her position. My shed stays. My peace is restored. Neighbors who once looked away now awkwardly nod in passing. Some apologize. Others avoid me. It doesn't matter. I fought back, and I won. As I stand in my yard, watching the sun set over my shed, I breathe deeply, feeling something I haven't felt in a long time. Freedom.